Sheriff Jim McDonnell.
Now it's time to get to work. And yes, the rumors are true. There's a new sheriff in town.
James Rojas, KABC News.
2 women were shot while driving down Broadway in South L.A. just past noon today. 1 woman was killed, the other just grazed by a bullet. Police say the women were shot by a solo male suspect in an older model F-150 Ford pickup. Police still looking for him. It's not known if the women were specifically targeted or not. A postal worker was killed today in Commerce, where a man crashed his car into the letter carrier's truck, pushing both vehicles into a storefront. The postal worker died at the hospital. The driver and 1 person inside the store suffered minor injuries. Police say the motorist may have been driving under the influence, but he was not arrested. And President Trump and the First Lady made a quick trip to the U.S. Capitol this evening to pay their respects to the late President George H.W. Bush. Jerry Bodelander reports.
The President and First Lady walked into the rotunda hand in hand and stood silently in front of the late President's flag-draped casket for about a minute. The President then saluted before he and the First Lady turned away and walked out of the rotunda.
KABC News Time is 11:02 with dependable traffic when you need it the most.
Overall freeway speeds are good tonight. We do have a couple of problems, though. We've got a wreck right now in Long Beach, the 103 Terminal Island Freeway southbound at I Street. It's a big rig accident. It has the right lane of traffic blocked. And in Compton, 710 north at Alondra Boulevard, 2-car wreck is on the right shoulder. We're seeing a fair amount of northbound slowing on the Golden State Freeway. If you're heading into the Castaic area, there is road work. Northbound 5 from Hasley Canyon to Lake Hughes Road. We have 3 left lanes closed. There's some southbound slowing on the Golden State Freeway as well from Templin Highway to Hasley Canyon. Pretty slow going through that area. And on the 710 north between Imperial Highway and Firestone, we have 2 right lanes of traffic closed till 5 a.m. That is causing a backup from Rosecrans, so we are seeing some pretty slow traffic there. Southbound Hollywood Freeway, you'll find delays between Sunset and Silver Lake Boulevard. And otherwise, freeway speed's pretty good tonight overall. KABC has dependable traffic when you need it most. I'm Cindy Berkey, Talk Radio 790, KABC.
Behind the Mic, furnished by Dalius Media.
This is Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
Inside Behind the Mic is live here on Talk Radio 790 KABC. Brad Dallas along with Keith Jackson on this Monday night, December the 3rd, 2018, as we kick off a brand new week here on the program. Great to have you aboard. We want to hear from you tonight, as always, at 1-800-222-5222. Call in at 1-800-222-5222. Follow us across social media. It's at BTM with Brad. On Instagram, our link in the bio there for our live online stream. Also currently streaming live video-wise on Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook. So plenty of opportunities to catch the program this evening. So much to talk about. The Chargers with a huge victory on Sunday Night Football over the Steelers. Pittsburgh was something like 200-0-2 when they were up by 14 points plus at home. Well, that streak came to an end last night as they suffered their first loss. Just a wild finish there. And as you all know, if you've been listening to me recently, I've been hard on the Chargers. It's taken me a while to come around. Keith, you know as well. But with that victory last night, I really starting to gain a lot more confidence in this team. More on that in just a second. We'll also recap the Monday Night Football game we all just witnessed. The Eagles taking care of business at home over the Redskins. Colt McCoy breaks his leg. Of course, insert Mark Sanchez there. And for a moment, it looked like Washington had something going tonight, especially with the Adrian Peterson 90-yard touchdown run, which I was amazed by, Keith, that was the longest of his career. Couldn't really believe that. Big night for him. Ties Jim Brown, now 5th all-time for the most rushing touchdowns in NFL history. So a big night for Adrian Peterson himself. Mike McCarthy is no longer the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. Let go yesterday. Surprising to some people. To me, yes and no. I'll tell you why coming up. We'll also recap Week 13 in its entirety across the NFL. College football playoff officially now set. We have our 4 teams. No one is that surprised. Of course, you have people upset in certain cities, certain college towns across America, and that's obviously because it's not a true big playoff field. And obviously, you have an undefeated Central Florida that got left out. You have a Georgia team that, in my opinion, was the biggest loser this weekend. They had basically, it looked like for points there against Alabama in the SEC title game, that they looked like they were the best team in the country. And they go from being up 14 points to potentially jumping up in the polls to losing the game and missing out on the playoffs just entirely there overall. So just an incredible swing of the pendulum there. And really, I think this past weekend, championship weekend in college football, was just a reminder of how thin the line really is between going to the playoffs and being left at home, and being in on the conversation and being left out in the cold. So just amazing there. So we can talk about that as we move along this evening as well. But at the top here, got to talk about the Chargers because, like I said, I was not sold on them. They had some victories so far this season, which they looked impressive. They beat some teams, but I said I want to see it against the elite teams in the AFC on the road, for example. We talked about this on Friday's show. I thought this would be one of the biggest matchups on Sunday Night Football this year. I think it lived up to the hype, and I think this Chargers team obviously showed you what they can do. Even without Melvin Gordon, you saw a healthy Joey Bosa and him really that duo there on the defensive end front for the Chargers with Ingram and Bosa there on opposite ends. I mean, with the two of them healthy together, obviously it's a good recipe for this Chargers team, and they got it done. And once again, Pittsburgh just shoots themselves in the foot, but I think most fans have come to expect that at this point in time.
Yeah, Brad. I mean, if you think about it, though, like I said, the Chargers, I've been on them from the beginning. I said that, look, they're going to look good. After people start talking about them a little bit, and you start to see what they can do. I'm like, yeah, they stay in games. They always stay in games. And when it really comes down to it, they just need to get over that hump. And they finally did that. They got over the hump. But, no, they're a team that you got to watch out for. I've been saying that for a while. And if you look at it, what impressed me the most, it wasn't Austin Eckler that came in there running back, but it was Justin Jackson. Justin Jackson, their third down running back. Their third down running back pretty much. And he was their third back in line. He's come in and he kind of rescued the whole team and what he did last night. And Keenan Allen played a great game within himself. I mean, he continues to do what he does. And then you look at Phillip Rivers. Like I've said, he's a Pro Bowler. Top 5 in my book, and I'm sure in a lot of people, top 5 quarterback in the league. He's constantly throwing darts and accurate throws, and he's kept his team in the game. And this is the first time you've seen Phillip Rivers within himself happy since LaDainian Tomlinson when he was playing with them at the time when they made their run then. So, yes, the team of the Chargers are a force to be reckoned with. They're a team that you got to watch out for. If you look at it and you look at the division, they're one game behind the Kansas City Chiefs, who we know
a couple games coming up that are going to be
challenging. A couple games coming up, and also not just a couple games coming up, but they go against the Seattle Seahawks team that's been really up there, and they're really getting it going now. They're trying to make a push to run at the playoffs. So, they got something to, you look at it now, this thing is wide open. It's not, the Kansas City Chiefs is not a team that's just a team that is undefeated, that's unstoppable. Mind you, they got 2 losses. The 2 losses they got against elite teams that are still in the top. True. And the top in the AFC who are favored to go to the Super Bowl this year. So, hey, man, you got to look at the Chargers as a serious contender in the AFC.
I'm convinced 100% that the Chiefs will drop a game during these next 3 weeks. Baltimore at home, Chargers at home, at Seattle, like you talked about, their key. It doesn't matter. They're going to lose one of these games. And, I agree. It's totally wide open. The Chargers, the AFC West division, I think, is still very much up for grabs. Mm-hmm. And they're surging right now. You have to really feel good about them. Look, they've lost 8 in a row to Kansas City. If there's ever going to be a time to break that streak, it's going to be coming up here in 2 weeks. I think from what you saw last night, they have the capability to go into an Arrowhead situation and pull out a victory. Won't be easy, but boy, I am much more of a believer now after what I saw last night.
I'm convinced all the way. Look, Kansas City has some great players. There's no doubt about it. But the blow to losing Kareem Hunt is a major, major blow.
It's huge.
That's your engine pretty much on your team. It's not Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes just has a great supporting cast. Now, I'm not saying that Patrick Mahomes is not great. Patrick Mahomes is great. He has done some great things. He has done. He's really the future of the in terms of quarterbacks in the NFL. But he's had a great supporting class, and Kareem Hunt is a lot to do with that. And to lose him, the team right now, they have two focal points: Jason Kelsey and Tariq Hill. Those are the only guys you got to really watch. The Kareem Hunt was like that balance. It was like, okay, we have to watch this rush. Now, they did pick up Kendrick West, who's a guy that they had a while ago, and they had him, and they re-signed him. We don't know what he can do. He's been sitting for a while, but
He's not Kareem Hunt.
It's not Kareem Hunt, like you said. It's like they had Jamal Charles at one time, and then they lost him. He was a major, but Kareem Hunt's a big guy, is a big blow. So, look, the Chargers got a great opportunity. They really, if you look at it down their schedule, they got a really depleted Bengals team right now.
AJ Green
is done. Then they go to the Chiefs, which is going to be the big test. But they got a long way to go because, look, I believe it or not, man, I think Lamar Jackson saved Harbaugh's job.
At the moment,
Ravens,
it looks that way.
It looks that way, and I think he saved his job. And the Ravens got an opportunity to go and make it the playoffs as well. So the Chargers still got a hard way to go, man. They still got some tough games, and it can go either way with the Melvin Gordon that's out. But when you see somebody like a Justin Jackson, your third down back, come in and rescue you, and you got the Keenan Allen, you got a little confidence going in. You look good. You got Bosa that was out, and you're still making some stops. But when you see that, then you still got to say, look, they got a long ways to go, but you got to be confident in what they've been doing.
Let's talk about Pittsburgh for a second. I mean, again, you can't script this from what you saw there last night. The field goal attempt at the end of the game as the clock expires, it's missed. Pittsburgh's offsides. Then you do it again, obviously,
yeah.
and they're offsides again. And really, they were offsides 3 times in a row, and the third time made the kick. Look, I don't. You and I talked earlier today, Keith, off the air. I just don't really buy that they tried to do that on purpose. I think it's an undisciplined football team in big time moments and spots.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen that a lot now over the past couple of seasons. And they just self-destruct. They find new ways to do it too. This time on special teams.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I think it was a very strategic thing that they did. I mean, as a player, you look at it like, look, I have no timeouts left, and I got to get a jump to try to get a block call. And it's at the 40-yard line, and so if he hits it, it's over. Remember the first one he kicked, it went to the left. It went wide to the left. And, yes, they got a flag there, but that was a little bit of a late flag and didn't come in right away. So it was a little late flag, so you take that gamble. And so they said, hey, well, look, we got 5 yards left. This is a rookie field goal kicker. We know where the Chargers' weak point is the kicking. So they get a jump again. And I think what you do is you just got to hope that basically the refs are not on top of it. Maybe they miss a call and they got to block the next one. So I don't think that it was a bad thing that they did in my aspects. I think that, look, we had no timeouts left, and that let's see how far this can go. This is another way we can freeze the kicker. Yes, we're bringing him closer to the field goal post, but maybe we can freeze him this way because we don't have any timeouts left. So to me, I don't look at it as was a bad thing to do. What I do look at it was a bad thing was that it was just a comeback. They're weak in their secondary, which we saw again. I mean, Keenan Allen shredded them. And then they still go back to this zone defense. They don't like playing man-to-man defense. And I think they should play a little bit bump and run with teams. And they don't. They got Joe Hayden out there. They got some guys that can run with guys, but they play this zone defense. And you got Pro Bowlers like quarterbacks who are very savvy, like a Phillip Rivers, that would shred that, and that's exactly what he did.
Amazing. Like I said, I mean, Pittsburgh, it's either like you can get it done and get over the finish line, or something trips you up. And I'm more often than not, obviously, I'm having a hard time really trying to see reasons why Pittsburgh loses games. And I'm not taking anything away from the Chargers. They deserved to win last night. But again, Pittsburgh coughed that up to some extent, in my opinion. Coming up, we'll touch on the Rams, their victory yesterday over the Lions in Detroit. Also, we'll get into the Monday Night Football that we just witnessed a couple of hours ago. And also talking about McCarthy being let go from the Packers. That and more coming up here behind the mic on KABC Radio.
If you had your natural-looking hairline back, well, now you can have your own real hair back at a price you can afford. In honor of our 40th anniversary, Dr. Elliott of Pacific Hair Institute will be giving a special pricing of only $2.50 per graft, which is more than 50% off the regular cost. Imagine how great you'll look and feel. Dr. Elliott also performs the most advanced technique available, the NeoGraft system. There's no cutting, no scarring, and fast recovery. Go to PacificHairInstitute.com for details. Dr. Elliott has completed 40,000 successful hair restoration surgeries. Appointments are limited, and special pricing is only valid through the end of the year. So call Pacific Hair Institute now for a free consultation. 855-552-4200. Financing options available. Some restrictions apply. Call now for details. 855-552-4200. That's 855-552-4200.
The KABC Subaru Live Stage is brought to you by the Subaru Share the Love event. Over the last 10 years, Subaru has donated over $118 million to charity. This year, they're continuing to share the love. And right now, when you get a new Subaru, Subaru will donate $250 to your choice of charity partners. The ASPCA, Make-A-Wish, Meals on Wheels, or the National Park Foundation. Visit your local retailer or Subaru.com to learn more. The Subaru Share the Love event, now through January 2nd.
How about a store that has farmers market freshness, thousands of club sizes, plus everyday groceries and party supplies, where prices are up to 25% lower than supermarkets? That's Smart and Final. Guaranteed high-quality foods, organics, local products, and really cool stuff you can't find anywhere else. It's not a supermarket. It's Smart and Final.
Now at Smart and Final, 3-pound bags of juicy tangerines are just $2.79 each.
I'm a real person, real voice, and a real face. Even though you can't see it because, radio invisibility. You know what else is super duper real? Geico Local Offices. A Geico Local agent could tailor fit a policy to you, which could save you hundreds on your car insurance. All because Geico Local agents keep it real, with real savings and real service. Really.
And if you're looking for more ways to save, your local Geico agent could help with your homeowners, condo, and renter's insurance too. Stop by or give them a call today.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Holiday Inn Express wants to let you in on a little secret. There's still time to get at least 20% off at holidayinexpress.com during our annual sale. We'll even throw in free breakfast. Just kidding. Breakfast is always included in your stay at Holiday Inn Express. Book now and save at holidayinexpress.com. Terms apply.
You're listening to Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
Welcome back inside Behind the Mic here at KABC Radio. Brad and Keith hanging out. Recapping what we just saw earlier this evening on Monday Night Football between the Redskins and Eagles. Birds take down Washington 28-13. Of course, we knew Alex Smith was done for the season. And now, unfortunately, Colt McCoy goes down with a broken leg as well. And, of course, our resident Redskins fan here, Mike, on the board. Colt McCoy it looked painful. Sometimes there's guys who, they might break a bone and or tear their Achilles and they pull a Kobe Bryant and they just walk out of their own power. And it's like, you think it's just like a tweak. But sometimes you see guys who clearly they're in a lot of pain. I thought Colt McCoy looked like he was in a lot of pain tonight. So insert Mark Sanchez. And, for a second there, Adrian Peterson scored a 90-yard touchdown, and you had to be feeling kind of good, right, Mike? I mean, at least for a second there. And then obviously things went downhill a little bit after that.
I hate these mics. I had a second or two where I thought it looked good, but, the life of a Redskins fan, it sucked since Theismann went down.
It's just unbelievable. I mean, they were poised to win this division, I think. Most people would think that before Smith got hurt.
6-3, and now they're lost 3 straight, and I see no hope for the rest of the season.
So Mike, I got to ask you, though, did you think at one point that with Alex Smith, did you think they will possibly win this?
Not really.
Not really with Alex Smith?
I mean, I've been watching the Redskins since 1980.
Okay.
And, they were great for a very long time. And then they just, Snyder took over, and it's been downhill ever since.
Yeah, spoken like every other Redskins.
Exactly. Can't
true.
stand the guy.
They have not been able to get it on track.
That really sucks,
but
though,
injuries,
man.
I mean, injuries have been a big part of it, too.
Yes.
I think, to be fair to Snyder, injuries have been a big part of it.
And then they brought RG3 out way too early. I mean, he needed time to develop. He could have been amazing.
But Shanahan ruined his career. Come on, man.
He did. He
should
completely ruined his career, and it kills me every time I think about it, because he could have taken them so far for so long, and now he's not going to take anybody anywhere.
No, that's right.
Yeah, the Shanahan era did not work out, to say the least, and the Joe Gibbs Part 2 didn't work out. Big reason why I think a lot of people were against Gruden going back to Oakland was because usually second time arounds have not panned out very well in history. So, but Washington, I think the injuries have just been the big part of it. I mean, in a year or two when the NFC East was really, really up for grabs, and it still is at this point.
To look at a positive thing out of their season, though, is Adrian Peterson revamped his whole career. I mean, tonight he had a 90-yard rushing touchdown.
Look good.
And man, as old as he is, to still do it the way he can do it. I mean, man, there's so much he can do. But it's a shame because if you think about it, and Mike, you probably can vouch for me for this a little bit because the Redskins, there's your Redskins. But when he was with the Vikings, they didn't really have at one point in time they didn't really have a receiver to go to, so they exclusively went to him. And man, and then here you go again. He's never really gotten a chance to get into playoffs and do his thing. And then when he went to Arizona, well, we know what happened there. And then now he's over here at Washington, and you think they have something going, and they're exclusively going to him again. But then what's going to happen? They pack 8 in the box. He doesn't get his yards as much, but today he broke out for one. But he has to pull like a rabbit out his hat every single time.
Well, they're not a very dynamic offense, obviously, at this point when they're down to Mark Sanchez.
They just got receivers out there, man. It sucks.
And their defense tonight was horrid. Just horrid.
It was. I mean, Wentz carved him up. By the way, Zach Ertz, he's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
He is unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of people were kind of given somewhat of like a direct access look into how good he's really been tonight, especially with Witten comparing and talking. How about Witten actually kind of like studying Zach Ertz before he retired there a little bit? It was just fascinating overall. And obviously, Ertz is closing out on his single-season catch record by a tight end. He's just really been unbelievable. You're right. The defense today struggled big time.
I'm calling it, guys. Like I'm gonna call it right now. NFC East. I think Philadelphia's going to get in. I think they're look. They're only a game behind the Dallas Cowboys right now. I've been saying this before. I think Philadelphia is going to be the team to beat. And for somehow they're going to make a great run. I mean, their schedule ahead. They really got they got the Cowboys coming up. I think they can beat the Cowboys
at Dallas. It's a little bit different. I think this time a year, if they would have had that first game earlier this season at Dallas and this one in Philly, I think you would say Philly all the way. But I don't know. In Dallas, they've played well there recently. We know they've been a better home team than road team, generally speaking. So that'll be a big
battle.
dogfight.
That'll be a battle. But I'm picking Dallas. I'm actually picking Philly to win that. I think Philly is more of a must-win situation. And then they go against the Rams. Look, their schedule's tough, mind you.
It's tough.
This is a true test for the Philadelphia Eagles because they are the Super Bowl champs. They're the defending champs, and look, they got 3 big games back to back. They got the Cowboys, the Rams, and then they got the Texans, who's red hot. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not a believer in the Texans yet. Yes, they're red hot. They've
won 9 in a row.
I understand that. But I understand
I
understand they won 9. They understand they won 9 in a row. But when they play against elite teams like the New England Patriots, what happens? They debacle and they deplete every single time.
Well, that's New England. Most teams do debacle against New England.
I don't even think they can beat Kansas City. I don't think they can beat Kansas City if they run up against them. I think they can they're the team to me that can get upset. But going back to Philadelphia, I'm going to say, look, I think Philadelphia can I honestly think Philadelphia can beat the Texans. And the only team, and they got the Redskins. So look, I'm saying out of this whole entire lineup, I can see the Philadelphia is going in this last 4 weeks 3-1.
Wow, so that'd be impressive. That'd be really impressive. Who's the one lost to?
The Rams.
Okay.
They lose the Rams. They
Rams
go out there.
The most complete
team
in your
Rams,
book?
most complete team in my book. Look, the Texans got a vicious defense, as we all know. They've
finally been healthy this year.
They've finally been healthy. But I just think, look, this is a must-win situation for them. Their back's against the wall. They know, the Philadelphia Eagles know. They're licking their chops, and they're like, look, Dallas, to me, that game that they had was more of an emotional win for them. They know they needed that win. Have we seen the Dallas Cowboys defense do that the whole year? For the last 2 years, 3 years, we never seen the defense play like that.
But
Never.
They showed you their potential.
They show potential, but I think that potential is not going to keep going.
You don't
I think
so?
No.
I mean, if they can slow down in New Orleans offense, they have the ability, Keith, to do that to any team in this league.
They have the ability, but they also play down to the level of their competition, which we all know. And look, it was just a weird week. Think about it.
I agree
it was a weird week.
I agree with them playing down to their competition, but I will say, though, even if they've done that recently, they've turned into a team now that finds ways to win games. Maybe they haven't figured out that whole playing down to the competition thing, but they have figured out how to win games.
It was a weird week. Brad, look what happened this week. Jacksonville shuts out the Colts.
Yeah, that was weird. I can't figure out Indy.
Come on, man.
1 week I think Frank Wright is the coach of the year for what he's done, and I think Andrew Luck's back on track. The next week I'm just like, what did I just watch? I mean, it's just horrendous.
Dallas holds down the New Orleans Saints and in their whole offense. This was just one of those weeks. I don't think, look, they needed that win. They got that win. Dallas Cowboys got the win, but I'm not a believer. I think, if anything, do I think they still get in? I think they get in as a wild card spot. But I can't see, for me, I'm picking Philly to win the NFCS. The East
Division. It could happen again. It's so wide open. Obviously, next week, if they're able to beat Dallas, they would have split the season series, and they would essentially be tied for first place. At that point, I'm not sure who would have the tiebreaker. We'd have to look that one up exactly, but you get where I'm going with it. They're right there. I think Dallas, though, if they were to drop Keith into a potential wild card spot, it's obviously going to be a whole hell of a lot more difficult for them to get into it because you have so many teams right there that are basically teetering in the hunt right now for that final 6 spot. So I think Dallas' best shot to make the playoffs is by winning this division. If they don't, it's going to be much, much more difficult for them to get in.
Someone on Periscope saying that Dallas Cowboys has been the top 5 defense in the past 5 weeks. Okay, that's great. I get it. They've
been up there. Yeah,
they've been up there for sure. But I'm just saying. I just think in this situation, I think, look, they put it together. They put a little nucleus together, but I just can't see them going out a Philadelphia team who's on the ropes, who knows that they need a must-win situation for them.
Dallas is on the ropes, too.
I understand that, but I just think the defending champs, I just think they're a much better team to me than Dallas Cowboys are. I think so. I think they are, and they have. Honestly, look, those are 2 inconsistent teams. Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia have been 2 inconsistent teams throughout the whole year.
Yes,
and so question. It's a 50-50 who's going to win that. And to me, I'm looking at it. I'm like, look, I'm going with the defending champs, man.
Offensively, I would have said throughout most of the season that by far Philly had the better offense. No question about it. Ertz, Jeffrey.
And look
Wentz,
at Golden Tate today. Golden Tate
has been a nice addition.
Nelson Aguilar has come up and did some big things. So, look, they're starting to put something together.
They are.
At a great time. And, look, it's going to be a rivalry game.
Oh,
it's going to be a close game.
I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be somewhat different than what we saw in Philadelphia a couple weeks ago when those 2 teams hooked up. But I think the big difference now, obviously, there's no denying for Dallas is Amari Cooper. And the emergence of him in this offense, I mean, you pair him with Zeke Elliott. I think you can make the case that Zeke is the best offensive player on the field next week when both those teams pair up. I think you can make that case.
Yeah.
So, and I like how Dak Prescott
the play calling. The play calling is going to be a big issue. But you got 2 guys whose play calling is just ridiculous. You know, like they don't like Philadelphia.
Well, Peterson
today.
is ultra aggressive. We know that going for it again.
At the 5-yard line, Peterson, you're throwing at the 5-yard in the second half. You at the 5-yard line. You just ran it all the way up to the 30-yard line to get to the 5-yard line, and you're throwing a pass play. Why are you not running?
Well, I think because he saw they got stuffed earlier in the game when they went for it on 4th and goal. And they got nothing there. I think maybe that's why he decided to mix up in that situation. But I just continue to wonder if, he leads the league, Philadelphia does, in most 4th down attempts and conversions since 2016.
Yeah.
I believe that's how that stat goes. And to me, I just think at some point that's going to catch up with you in one way or another.
Yeah. And that's interesting. But you know what? I'll say this. It's also trending. People are coming up on Periscope saying that Cowboys fans are a little afraid of the Eagles right now. Like, and I would be too if I was a Cowboys fan.
Well, Philly, you don't know what you're going to get. That's
exactly.
You don't know
That's
what you're
my
going to
point,
get.
and I agree with them. You got to look at them and say, well, look what they can do. They are capable of beating you and upsetting you. That's the type of team they are. We never thought what they can do against the Patriots last year, and you saw what happened. And then look what they're doing now. They're a team that can go into anybody's place away. To me, they can go anywhere, and they can beat anybody. That's the type of team they are. You just don't know what you're going to get. You probably can get a horrible Philadelphia Eagles team, or you're going to get a great Philadelphia Eagles team. And I think that's what's scary about playing the Philadelphia Eagles.
A quick break, and we're back after this.
News live and local at 11:31. I'm Jeff Whittle, and Alex Villanueva was sworn in today as L.A. County's new sheriff after defeating incumbent Sheriff Jim McDonnell in last month's election. A man was wounded in a shooting near Maple Avenue and 23rd Street in South L.A. early this evening. The victim's hospitalized in unknown condition. Police have not released any suspect information. And a former Beverly Hills police captain has settled his age and religious discrimination lawsuit against the city for more than $2 million. 60-year-old Mark Rosen claimed he was denied promotions after reporting that he heard the police chief and other department officials use insensitive language to describe Jews, blacks, lesbians, Latinos, and Catholics. Rosen retired Friday as part of the settlement, which was scheduled to go to trial today. The city denies Rosen's allegations. KABC News Time, 11:32, with dependable traffic when you need it the most.
Overall, freeway speeds are good tonight, but we've got a few incidents. There is a wreck on the 103 Terminal Island Freeway in Long Beach, 103 southbound at I Street. This is a big rig. It's got the right lane of traffic blocked. In Compton, 710 north at Alondra Boulevard, there's a two-car wreck, which is on the right shoulder. There's some slowing on the northbound 710. Watch for some slow traffic. Right after that, there is some road work underway northbound 710 between Rosecrans and Firestone Boulevard. Watch for road work. There's also road work on the Golden State Freeway, slowing things down quite a bit in the Castaic area. Northbound 5 between Hasley Canyon and Lake Hughes Road. We have 3 left lanes of traffic blocked and traffic slow all the way to Templin Highway. So through the Castaic area, we've got some pretty slow speeds right now. Also, southbound Golden State Freeway, seeing slowing between Burbank Boulevard and Los Feliz Boulevard. KABC has dependable traffic when you need it most. I'm Cindy Berkey, Talk Radio 790 KABC.
The one and only Rick Springfield, American songbook icon Paul Anka, Gordon Lightfoot, alt-rock favorites Gin Blossoms, the beautiful vocal stylings of Wilson Phillips, Frankie Valli, Styx, classic rock legends Blue Oyster Cult, Meatloaf presents Bat, the music of Meatloaf. And not to be missed, Alan Parsons Project, the Canyon Concert Series, bringing good music and great times your way at the Canyon in Agoura and Santa Clarita, the Saban in Beverly Hills, the Rose in Pasadena, the Libby Bowl in Ojai, and coming soon to Montclair. Get your tickets today before these shows sell out. The Canyon Concert Series. For a complete list of events and info, visit wheremusicmeetsthesoul.com. That's wheremusicmeetsthesoul.com.
I'm Amy Arrett, founder of Madison Reed, a hair color company I named after my daughter. It's very meaningful to me when I hear customers talk about how Madison Reed at-home hair color has changed their lives. Here's Vicky, one of our very first customers.
Coloring my own hair is easier than I ever imagined. The best part, I no longer have to sit in a salon and pay over $100 to have this done. Now I color it when it's convenient for me, and it takes less than an hour. People compliment me on how great my color is, and my hair is incredibly soft and healthy looking.
Experience beautiful, multi-dimensional, ammonia-free, salon-quality color for under $25. Join the hundreds of thousands of women who have tried and loved Madison Reed. Find your perfect shade at madison-reed.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first color kit. Use code TOP. That's code TOP. Try it. Love it. That's the beauty of Madison Reed.
This is Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
It was December 24th on Hollis Avenue, the dark, when I seen a man chilling with his dog at the park. I approached him very
Behind the Mic has officially entered into the Christmas season here, playing some jams, and we got more to come, obviously, as we go along into the next couple of weeks, as Christmas is right around the corner pretty soon, hard to believe. And obviously, we're recapping tonight everything that happened across the NFL this weekend. So many different things. And, oh, by the way, actually, as well, we talked about last week, obviously, the big fight that went down on Saturday between Fury and Wilder.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was a big success. Keith and I were over there at Staples Saturday night, and we're up there in the press box area and took in what was really a classic fight and lived up to the hype overall.
Man.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
It was definitely a lot of fun. Showtime put on a great event. We saw some great fights. Luis Ortiz fought.
Yeah, the undercard was solid.
Deontay Wilder's brother fought, Marcelo's Wilder. And, man, it was great. And then you got Deontay and Tyson Fury, who everybody is still talking about to this day. You know, it's interesting. There's buzzing around. And, I have to agree with Floyd Mayweather. He had said on Showtime that Deontay needs a new trainer if he's going to, because he's too predictable, which I've said many a times, like he is. He's very predictable. You knew that right hand was coming. But look, take nothing away from Deontay Wilder. There's the reason why he's the knockout king of boxing. He hits extremely hard. And it was impressive to me to see someone like Tyson Fury get out there. He did outbox him. But, man, when Deontay Wilder landed that hit and knocked him out and he got back up, I've never seen nothing like that. As many fights as I've seen in boxing, I've never seen anything like that
You
in my
were
life.
shocked.
I was
You were shocked. You were like, Brad, it's over. It's over.
Yeah.
You're like, there's no way he's getting up from this.
I think everybody in the arena thought it was over. And then you saw what happened. And then you have this big controversial thing saying, Tyson Fury won the fight, which, a lot of people said, look, he did outbox him. And I honestly feel that, yes, Tyson Fury was beating Deontay throughout the whole fight because he was boxing him. But I look at knockdowns, and, he knocked him down twice. And, and that one that he knocked him down in the 12th round, to me, sealed it that, hey, he won the fight. So it can go, it's 50-50, can go back and forth, whatever. But what a great event, man. Showtime did a great job of promoting that fight, and those guys get a great job of it. So hats off to them, and I can't wait to see the next one, man, if that happens. But
the rematch
got to happen. But Anthony Joshua, you're in this conversation now, and you got to fight one of these guys, and it's going to be a war, whoever he fights.
Yeah, no question about it. We look forward to that whenever it comes. Back to the NFL, and quickly, the Rams obviously took care of business against the Lions yesterday, 30-16. Not too much to touch on there, but another team, obviously, in the Lions division, the NFC North, made headlines yesterday, that being the Packers, letting go of Mike McCarthy essentially immediately following their loss to the Cardinals, in which I thought the wheels kind of came off yesterday, Keith, of the franchise. It had been like 50 years plus since Arizona actually won at Lambeau. I think the front office was embarrassed, in my opinion, and that's why essentially as soon as McCarthy walked off the field and right into a meeting, by all accounts, he was let go.
But you know what? I think in a way too. Honestly, I think Aaron Rodgers kind of quit on McCarthy as well.
See, I don't buy into this. I don't buy into this notion.
And rightfully so. And rightfully so. And why I'm saying rightfully so is because, look, you got an Aaron Rodgers who is in his prime. He is in his prime, and look, you need to put better players around him. But he's really, throwing long Hail Marys and making plays and things like that, throwing bombs off the whole, a whole entire, game. And that's his game. But, I think the play calling could have been a lot more better. And I don't know if Aaron Rodgers calling the plays up front, but I'm sure he's not. But he's clearly, to me, has been frustrated. And he's been frustrated for some time now. And so I think really what that whole conversation was, and this is just my opinion, is I think that Aaron Rodgers was saying, look, it's either he's got to go or I got to go, but I can't take this anymore. And so I think with the loss against Arizona, look, I think Aaron Rodgers, I'm not saying he threw the game. I'm not saying that at all. But, you saw Aaron Rodgers to me that he wasn't the same. He didn't look the same when he was out there. And I think it was more of a thing like man, I'm kind of tired. I'm tired of what the type of play calling we're calling and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? Like, you go in there and you get frustrated. Like, why are we calling that? But okay, we got to run this play. That's what I think it is. And because that team is clearly better than Arizona. Let's come on. You can't come at home and you can't get beat
but as we
by
talked
the
about,
worst
if
team
you
in the
don't
league.
bring your A effort, these are two professional football teams.
I understand.
You're going to
that.
get beat. Look, I am not a believer that any player, I don't care how big of a star you are, ever gets a coach fired. What gets a coach fired is losses.
No, there's some players that get coaches fired, and we can go down the line with that. We can go down the line with that. There's a lot of players. What are you talking about? There's a lot of players that have gotten coaches fired, offensive coordinators fired,
head coaches, not assistants, head coaches.
So you're saying head coaches? There's not no players in there that's gotten head coaches fired in any sport.
No, I don't believe that players get coaches fired by personal, attacks or stuff like that. You lose, you get fired because you lose. That's really the bottom line, I think.
So you're telling me you don't think an Aaron Rodgers would say either get rid of the coach or trade me? You don't think that coach wouldn't get fired?
No, I don't think that conversation would even go down.
Especially with a contract he has of the biggest contract that probably as a quarterback has, like the biggest. He got a huge contract. Of course, they're going to let him go before they're going to let. Going to let McCarthy go before they let him go. They just signed him to a huge deal.
Right. That's why that notion is really not reality.
Listen, we have seen it. He is clearly frustrated. He's clearly frustrated. It's been reported that they don't see eye to eye, and that's been reported for the last 2 years, that they don't see eye to eye. They try to make it work, and it hasn't worked. And so, yes, player can get a coach fired.
No, he got fired, Keith, because they have 4 wins,
Come on, Brad.
the least amount of wins they've had in the season since 2006.
The man's been there for 15 years, man.
Right, they hasn't got the job done.
He's been there for 15 years. He's won a Super Bowl. What are you talking about? He got
that was
the
a long
job
time
back.
ago, Keith.
It don't matter.
You know how this works.
It don't matter if he hasn't got the whole time ago.
Harbaugh won a Super Bowl in Baltimore, and you know that Steve Buscemi was talking about this offseason, letting him go. It doesn't one Super Bowl doesn't buy you 10, 15 years. That just doesn't happen anymore.
Look, 115 years, it doesn't matter about that. What I'm saying to you is, yes, players can get coaches fired, because what's initially going to get the money? Coaches don't put fans in the stands. It's players do. Odell Beckham could have been gone a long time ago. Who's still there? Odell Beckham's the coach that was there last year is not there anymore.
Well, McAdoo was let go.
McAdoo's gone
because he was stupid. He benched Eli Manning in favor of Davis Webb. That was his grand plan last year in Oakland. But
is Odell Beckham still there?
He was a clown, Keith. They ran him out of town. He was terrible.
Is Odell Beckham still there? Odell Beckham should have been gone.
Well, they could have. They tried. They put him on the block. They tried to trade him. I think they attempted to maybe move him at some point. Whether they'll admit that or not, I think they at least took offers, listening wise, privately.
They listen, but they signed him to an extension, and he brings money to the arena.
My point is, coaches get fired because they lose. The Giants lost under McAdoo big time. That's why unless you can give me an example otherwise of a coach who was flying high, putting up big time victories, and they canned him because he had personal problems with the quarterback.
I gave you an example. I'm just telling you that players can get coaches fired. That is so true.
What's the example?
I can give you an example even with Kobe Bryant back then when he was playing. He's gotten coaches fired.
Head coaches?
Yes. Who? What are you talking about? When he came in, Dale Harris didn't play Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant and those agents, they had a conversation about that. Dale Harris is out.
I'm sorry, I must have missed it. The Lakers were in the NBA Finals.
You missed it then because Dale Harris, Kobe Bryant has done that. They had to bring in a lead coach for him.
Because the team.
He was clearly frustrated. It has nothing to do with the team. It's also the elite player.
But Keith,
if people invest,
the common denominator was all those teams were bad. They lost games.
I understand their teams is bad. I know you want to get a good coach, but it doesn't matter if you have an elite player on your team who puts money in your pockets and fans in the stands. They're going to get rid of the coach before they get rid of the player. That's obvious. That is obvious. You mean to tell me
you got to have a leader on your team? I mean, if you want to go in the right direction, I agree. You got to let go of the coach.
And exactly what happened.
But that's because they were
exactly
losing.
What happened for Aaron Rodgers. Yes, his losing record, the record that they have it does play in that as well. But it's also a combination of multiple things. Aaron Rodgers did not agree with a lot of stuff that was going on. It was clearly reported and known. The GM knew that, and they got rid of him. Bottom line, and they re-signed, and they gave Aaron Rodgers an extension contract. He's got a multi-million-dollar deal.
Magic Johnson got rid of Paul Westhead, too.
Thank you. It happened.
He said, trade me. I don't want to play for him.
So what was their record that year?
They had won the championship the year before. And I don't know where they're at. It was 6 games into the season.
That's you have to give me like where they were at that point in time. Like
there were 6 games into the season, and he said he wouldn't play for him anymore. Then came Pat Riley.
And, you know, if they move on from that point in time, and if they look, obviously the writing's on the wall. The writing's on the wall.
But like I said, they won the championship the year before. It wasn't like he sucked. You know, they won the championship. They got 6 games into the next season. Magic said, I don't want to play for him anymore. Trade me. Away we went.
Yeah, usually it doesn't happen. Usually it does not happen.
LeBron James, Mike Brown. Mike Brown won the championship before. Mike Brown won the yes.
Mike Brown never won a championship.
Mike Brown took him to they went to the Eastern Conference Finals every year.
Okay, Eastern Conference Finals. That's not a championship.
Every year, but he went every year, and you get rid of a guy.
You got to bring someone to take you over the hump.
You get rid of a guy that brought you to the Eastern Conference Championship every year. LeBron was clearly frustrated, had a conversation, and they brought Tyronn Lue in. It happens. They're not going to get rid of LeBron. That's insane.
More on this debate after this. It's Behind the Mic, KBC Radio.
Education, and they can help you generate income for today or your retirement. You can learn how to create a daily, weekly, or monthly income using the Online Trading Academy's patented supply and demand strategy. All you have to do is give them a call at 888-991-TRADE. That's 888-991-TRADE to get 2 free passes to their 3-hour class so you can check everything out for yourself. You can also visit them online at otaclass.com. That's otaclass.com.
Ho, ho, ho. Well, what do you want for Christmas?
Want to be a part of the audience for the Dr. Drew Midday Live Show with me, Lauren Savant, and Dr. Drew from the Subaru Live Stage?
Sign up at kbc.com and you may score an invite. Brought to you by the Subaru Share the Love event, now through January 2nd.
The Sid Levine Show, fame and fortune in Hollywood. Sid Levine, owner of the Levine Agency for 31 years, shares his wealth of knowledge for all to hear. A must listen if you're trying to make it in Hollywood. Tune in every Sunday at 7 p.m. on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
I'm a real person, real voice, and a real face. Even though you can't see it because, radio invisibility. You know what else is super duper real? Geico Local Offices. A Geico local agent could tailor fit a policy to you, which could save you hundreds on your car insurance. All because Geico local agents keep it real, with real savings and real service. Really.
And if you're looking for more ways to save, your local Geico agent could help with your homeowners, condo, and renters insurance too. Stop by or give them a call today.
There are lots of ads out there for cheap install-it-yourself home security systems, but they may leave you more frustrated than protected. I'm Allie, co-founder of Alarm.com. With Alarm.com Systems, a local licensed security expert will professionally design a system to meet your needs. That same team professionally installs your system so it's working on day one. And all Alarm.com systems are professionally monitored 24/7 so you're always protected. When it comes to protecting your family, trust the experts. Visit alarm.com/protect today. That's alarm.com/protect.
You're listening to Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
Standing at this liquor store, whiskey coming through my pores, feeling like I run this whole block. Lotto tickets cheap, yeah, that's why you can catch me here, trying to scratch my way up to the top.
11:49, welcome back Behind the Mic, KBC Radio, 1-800-222-5222. Your thoughts on the Packers letting go of Mike McCarthy yesterday with 4 weeks to go in the regular season. At first, again, I was surprised, but then when I thought about it, not that surprised because they want to see this team play without him as head coach, take inventory of what they have so they can obviously go back to the drawing board this summer because the Packers now are on my list of teams I'm most curious about watching this offseason.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. It's got to be because they should be theoretically going all in this offseason with Rodgers obviously in his prime, but I don't think that's what they're going to do.
I don't know. I think so. I think they're also going to take a consideration. They're going to see. Also, I think Rodgers will probably be involved in who's going to be the next head coach as well to coach him. Look, you have an elite player like himself, and I definitely think he's going to be involved in that, and they're going to look to see what would be a good fit for Aaron Rodgers. It's the same thing with Tom Brady and Belichick. They have some great players and stuff like that. So, I think that. But what's interesting to me is also for McCarthy is where he's going to go next, and I think he'll get another job. Maybe the Bengals. I'm looking at. I'm kind of looking to see if maybe the Bengals will be a good fit.
They finally let go of Marvin Lewis.
I think they're gonna get rid of him
after about 50 years.
Yeah, but McCartney's a good. I think he's a good coach, and he just wasn't a good fit for them. I think his time just
got stale.
It ran its course, and. Look, the Browns are going to looking for a new guy. Maybe, I don't know. The coach that they have right now, he's coaching them pretty well. And they may give him a year, maybe give him that year. But looking at Arizona, may get another coach. Who knows?
I think that would be a disaster for him to go down to Arizona.
I understand, but I think he needs to. We just know McCarthy needs a fresh start, right?
Yeah, he does. I think it's probably vital that he goes to a spot where you have a veteran, established quarterback already set up.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if he's really in the business of developing quarterbacks at this point in time. I think a lot of people were in the school of thought that he obviously was riding off of Rodgers' coattails for quite some time there at Lambeau. I'm starting to kind of buy into that a little bit. I think, obviously, you can never take anything away from someone who wins a Super Bowl. With that being said, it was a long time ago now. And I think that we'll fully know where he's at if he can go somewhere else and either turn a team around or continue to have somewhat success with the team who's already satisfactory and maybe take them to the next level. We'll have to see. But again, I think the Packers, for them moving forward, I think they got to go after a young guy. Everyone, is trying to find the next Sean McVay. Everyone's trying to find the next Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan up there in San Francisco. I think you have to go young down that route. And obviously, like we talked about, surround Rodgers finally with some younger guys. I mean, at this point, Devontae Adams, Jimmy Graham, Randall Cobb, there's still a lot of talent there, but man, they're getting up there in age.
Yeah, they are.
A lot of mileage on those guys.
Yeah, they're definitely, to me, it's not even just that. I also think they got to go and revamp their O-line because Aaron Rodgers he's in his prime, but he's also at a time where he's had a lot of injuries, and it's only gonna for him. His career only can last so long, and so I think that you got to really protect him, and that's where it starts. I think that's the start. I think it's going for an offensive lineman and trying to get a better, stronger front. For Aaron Rodgers. And then from there, you can kind of teeter off. Devontae Parker's still a tradable piece. He's also a great player still. Randall Cobb is getting down there, still. So I don't think you can really get too much for him. I don't know how long he's still going to be in the league. Jimmy Graham, same thing. I think he's going to be gone after probably this year anyway.
You would think.
They'll probably insert Mercedes Lewis for another year or so.
You think so?
I think so.
I know you're somewhat close to him.
I am, but I think he's still got some.
He's got a little bit left.
A little bit left. I think certainly left more than Graham for sure, and I think they'll insert him a little bit more this upcoming season, next year, and they'll go from there. Get a young piece. They're definitely going to need a veteran. Tight end has been successful to be able to whoever tight end they bring in next year or who they bring in tight end next year to kind of take them under the umbrella and kind of mold them. So it's going to be an interesting time to see what they do this upcoming year. But I think I would start off. Yes, they got to start off with a coach, but also offensive lineman.
It is hard to believe that McCarthy was the second winningest coach in Packers history, right behind Curly Lambeau. I mean, that is amazing in itself.
Still a good coach.
Still a good coach. It is amazing, though, how the NFL stands for not for long. If you string together seasons in which you underperform or you have 4 wins for the first time since 2006, just not good enough to get it done when you have one of the all-time great quarterbacks on your team. Quickly segueing now to college football, and obviously the playoffs are set. We know that. All the bowl games were announced yesterday for playoff teams. No surprise what happened over the weekend. It kind of went, for the most part, to script, although you had a couple twists and turns in there. Like I said at the top, biggest loser, easily Georgia. Easily Georgia. They were down. It's just so ironic. Jalen Hurts comes in this year and somewhat redeems his own self from last year in the championship game. Look, they're so deep, Alabama. We know that. And I cannot believe Kirby Smart, though, in Georgia, faking the punt right around midfield there towards the end of the game. Again, just a classic example of teams trying to outsmart themselves when they're playing a Nick Saban coach team or a team of that caliber. I thought they just kind of panicked in the moment there, and I think it cost them clearly. But again, the pendulum swing of a Georgia looking like potentially the best team in the country at times on Saturday to, at the end of the day, not even making the playoffs. It's unbelievable.
Well, you look at it, the same thing with Ohio State. Ohio State, same way. If Ohio State, they arguably played the best defense in the country, Michigan, and they killed them, and then look what happened. They still didn't get in.
Can't lose to an unranked Purdue team.
Exactly. And where I'm coming from is that, again, it's the inconsistency of those teams. I think, honestly, I don't have really a problem with the playoff matchups. What I do have a problem with, though, is, I've said it multiple times, is UCF. I feel bad for them. A team that's undefeated.
So 25 in a row?
25
Something
in a
like
row.
that?
25 in a row, undefeated, and not get into the playoffs. And to me, it's just because of this so-called, quote-unquote, they're a mid-major school and they don't play anybody. That's a bunch of bull to me, man. They should definitely be in there. They need to switch off that playoff format that they're doing. But with that said, Alabama going against Oklahoma, man, I do have to agree with a lot of people, man. Oklahoma's defense, they're probably out of the playoffs have the worst defense.
Easily.
And out the four. And, man, it's going to be a shootout, but they have a great offensive team, and this may be a high-scoring game. But I do have to say this, man, if they don't score the first two plays or whatever, or they get a 2-3 and outs, it's over. Because I don't think their defense can get any stops against Alabama. They cannot. If they play smash mouth football against Alabama, they're going to lose.
Yeah.
And then
I saw a report. Some people think that Alabama might score in every single possession in the game.
Yeah, or not get a punt or something like that. Or they're not going to. Alabama's not going to punt at all.
The punter won't have to shower.
Yeah, that's funny. But you know what? This is what they do have, and this is what I was saying against Alabama, which is going to be really for Alabama a skeleton if they face Notre Dame in a championship game. Oklahoma has a running quarterback. They got a quarterback that likes to make plays and run. And if Notre Dame brings in their quarterback that makes run plays, then yes, they have a skeleton to prepare for them. That's just going to be interesting to me to see how this quarterback got to pretty much play the game of his life in order for them to win.
You're talking about Kyler Murray,
yes,
Oklahoma? Yeah.
For Oklahoma.
He's going to New York. He'll be there for the Heisman ceremony. He's one of the finalists. And
exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing, following up what Baker Mayfield did last year for him to have this type of season.
I'll say this, Brad.
Yeah.
If they beat Alabama, he's going to be the Heisman Trophy winner. I think these games right here. It's coming up early.
Yeah,
so
they'll announce it before.
They'll announce it before, but
to your point though, basically, how about he has that type of potential within him?
Yes, he has the potential within him to do it. So, man, Alabama's going to beat them. But that Notre Dame Clemson game, I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be back and forth, and but I think I'm picking Notre Dame to win that.
Easily the most fascinating team I think everyone is looking forward to seeing in the playoffs is the Irish.
Yeah.
I think they're the one because you know what you get with Alabama. You know what you get with Clemson. And when you look at, obviously, Oklahoma, we just talked about there, can't play defense, but offense is really good. Notre Dame's the wild card.
Yes.
They're the team everyone's going to
tune in. Some people are saying that they're not, they shouldn't have got in. I'm like, that's BS.
They went undefeated.
Undefeated.
That's all you can do, right?
Undefeated.
Hey, great show tonight. Great way to kick off the week here on Behind the Mic. We're back at it tomorrow, same place, same time. Until then, for Keith, I'm Brad. Keep living the dream.
Behind the Mic, furnished by Dalius Media.
KABC, Los Angeles, Orange County, a Cumulus station.
45 Orders 41, mega TV deal. I'm Elliot Francis. The President and First Lady Melania Trump have paid their respects to former President George H.W. Bush at the U.S. Capitol. Jerry Bodlander reports.
The Capitol was open through the night so people could file past President George H.W. Bush's flag-draped casket and pay their respects. Earlier, members of Bush's administration, along with Supreme Court justices and members of Congress, packed the rotunda, where Vice President Mike Pence called the 41st president a good man and praised his lifetime of service to country.
When President George Herbert Walker Bush left office, he left America and the world more peaceful, prosperous, and secure.
President Trump didn't attend that ceremony, but he did come a few hours later to pay his respects, standing silently with the First Lady before saluting the casket. Jerry Bodlander, Washington.
The president is calling for a full and complete sentence for his longtime lawyer, Michael Cohen. Cohen had pleaded guilty to 8 criminal counts, including campaign finance violations and other charges, and implicated the president in open court. Last week, you recall, he also pleaded guilty to lying to Congress. Well, Texas-based Next Star is expected to buy Chicago's Tribune Media for about $4 billion. Clayton Neville tells more.
The offer comes 4 months after